There's no need for much debate. Dandadan undoubtedly deserves to be one of the best anime of 2024. With its super unique narrative appealing to a wide audience, the story offers a refreshing take on character building, world building, and plot development, all of which are incredibly distinct and innovative. This sets the stage for an exciting work that's highly anticipated. In the Dandadan universe, beyond humans as the main race, there exist other factions residing both beneath the Earth's surface and beyond the universe. Specifically, two major groups dominate: the Yokai supernatural beings and the aliens. The journey of protagonist Okarun and his companions revolves around these forces. Turbo Granny, the first spiritual entity introduced in the story, is none other than Turbo Granny. Not only is she a key character, but she also sets off a chain of events in Dandadan. Appearance: Turbo Granny is depicted as an old, hunched woman wearing tattered clothing with dark, wood-like skin, white wild hair, and piercing eyes that gleam like car headlights. Her design draws inspiration from a yokai of the same name in Japanese urban legends. Interestingly, Turbo Granny doesn't just appear in Dandadan, but is also featured in other popular works from Japan, such as Mononoke. Turbo Granny is renowned for her speed, capable of reaching 100 kilometers per hour in movement and reaction time. Even more terrifying, when in her home turf of Hyogo Prefecture, her power surges, allowing her to reach speeds of 140 kilometers per hour. Her usual haunt includes treacherous highways or areas with frequent accidents. When she targets someone, she chases them relentlessly, instilling terror and often causing them to lose control, leading to disastrous accidents. In Dandadan, Turbo Granny resides in a tunnel located in the fictional city of Sano. This is the location where Okarun first encounters her while trying to confirm the existence of ghosts. Initially, Okarun mistakes Turbo Granny for a creepy old woman trying to harass him, prompting him to flee in panic. However, by running away, he unintentionally triggers her curse and is haunted by her. As a result, Turbo Granny steals Okarun's balls. Though cursed, with Momo's help, Okarun manages to subdue part of the curse. Later, when the group returns to the tunnel for a rematch, Turbo Granny falls into their trap, causing her spirit to be extracted from Okarun, while her powers are sealed inside a doll. Now, Turbo Granny exists as a cat-shaped doll, surprisingly cute yet retaining her gruff personality and vulgar language. Turbo Granny's primary strength lies in her superhuman speed, clocking in at 100 kilometers per hour, allowing her to pursue and curse anyone. Additionally, as a spiritual entity, she can shapeshift, possess others, and more. While inhabiting the cat doll, Turbo Granny exhibits limited abilities, mainly serving as the team's pet. However, she still retains a portion of her power, demonstrated by her ability to manipulate probability and fate to her advantage. Using this skill, she severely injures acrobat Madonna and weakens her significantly. Although a yokai, Turbo Granny doesn't harbor malicious intent. With her strength, she could have wreaked havoc across Japan, but she remains bound to the tunnel, attacking only those who trespass. This stems from her role as a guardian of the tunnel, a place marked by tragic events where young girls were often victimized and discarded. Turbo Granny serves as a protector, offering solace to the lost spirits of these victims while fiercely defending her territory from perceived threats. Reiko Kashima's pursuit of love. The final time Reiko Kashima encounters Momo, her bloodlust takes a backseat to her newfound obsession finding a soulmate. Now, the fearsome yokai embarks on an unexpectedly humorous journey, using her sharp appearance and twisted charisma to court potential suitors. However, given her over-the-top personality and frightening aura, most individuals run for their lives instead. Despite her menacing reputation, Reiko displays surprising vulnerability. Beneath her layers of narcissism and brutality lies a lonely soul yearning for genuine affection. This juxtaposition adds depth to her character and makes her a unique addition to the Dandadan cast. From the hyperspeed Thobo Baba to the acrobatic smooth jumper and the tragic evil eye, the series introduces a rich tapestry of creatures, each with their own lore, abilities, and emotional weight. Their stories often explore themes of love, loss, revenge, and redemption, adding a human touch to the supernatural chaos. A must-watch in 2024. Given its intricate world building, creative character designs, and emotionally charged storytelling, Dandadan is undoubtedly a strong contender for the best anime of 2024. The series doesn't merely rely on flashy battles or supernatural spectacles, it crafts a narrative that resonates deeply with viewers, making them laugh, cry, and reflect. If you haven't jumped into the world of Dandadan yet, now's the perfect time. Buckle up for a roller coaster of emotions, stunning visuals, and a cast of unforgettable characters will leave an indelible mark on your heart. Rako's unveiling, a fearsome beauty and power. Rako appeared with a bare face, no makeup, radiating an unusual, almost otherworldly beauty she had never realized herself. In terms of strength, Reiko Katima was the most powerful character in the series. Even the mighty Boba Baba acknowledged her strength and treated her with caution. Despite being a female yokai who loved makeup and dressing up, Reiko's combat style was anything but delicate. She preferred smashing her enemies with her powerful arms. Half-yokai foes were no match for her, and even Vamola in her destructive Kai outfit, capable of demolishing buildings, seemed insignificant to Rako. For her, it was like swatting flies off steel. However, Rako's true terror lay in her ability to manipulate and control mirrors. She could insert her hand into her mirror and transport it to reflective surfaces near her target for surprise attacks. Uniquely, she could imprison anything within her mirror realm by reflecting her opponents and trapping them alongside her image. In a battle against alien invaders, Reiko Katima single-handedly ended the threat by swallowing them into her mirror world and crushing them. The city battleground, full of reflective glass windows and shattered mirrors, gave her an overwhelming advantage, rendering her nearly invincible. Thanks to powerful yokai like Reiko Katima, Earth managed to fend off alien invasions. While advanced alien technology could overpower humans, beings like yokai, which defied logic and universal laws, stood as Earth's mighty guardians, fulfilling their sacred duty of protecting the planet. Albertman's origin, a friendship's tragic turn. Albertman was once Mike Chan, a childhood friend of Green, Okarun's class representative. Green and Mike shared a love for singing and dreamt of becoming famous idols with millions of fans. But family responsibilities forced Green to cancel their upcoming performance. She felt obligated to support her mother and grandmother, inadvertently saying hurtful words to Mike. Feeling betrayed, Mike and her friends distanced themselves from Green. Despite their falling out, they silently respected each other's choices. Encouraged by her grandmother, Green resolved to reconcile with Mike, while Mike set out to apologize only for tragedy to strike. On her way to Green's house, Mike and her mother died in a horrific car accident. Mike, now a vengeful spirit, haunted Green for years. Only after touching the golden orb did Green's psychic abilities awaken, allowing her to sense Mike's presence. With Seko's help, a ritual was performed to banish Albertman. However, Mike's pure soul remained, vowing to stay by Green's side until she became an idol and fulfilled their shared dream. Umbrella Boy, a yokai inspired by the Kasa Abeka spirit umbrella, was born from the tragic story of Futazuma, Yunji Yuma's younger brother. Futazuma was a cheerful child who brightened his family's hardships with his radiant smile. His most treasured belongings were a pair of boots and an umbrella bought by his mother. One stormy day, Futazuma lost his umbrella to a river and drowned trying to retrieve it. From this tragedy, Umbrella Boy emerged, eternally tied to his brother Yunji, becoming part of his strength. Kurata, the main antagonist of Dawn manga, lacked any tragic backstory. He was evil incarnate. Sealed long ago within a bed, he turned it into a cursed board game that trapped anyone who touched it. His goal was to trick players into defeating his guardians, which maintained his seal, thus freeing him. Kurata's body was a massive tangle of black vines adorned with 4 cards, a face, an eye, an ear, and a mouth. Each granted unique powers like stealing sight, causing auditory chaos, silencing speech, and mind control. Despite his regenerative abilities, he could be destroyed if all 4 cards were simultaneously destroyed. Ultimately, after being defeated, Kurata fled but was captured and absorbed by Sangerman. The SPO were an alien race entirely male and capable of natural reproduction. Relying on cloning, they sought to overcome their genetic stagnation by studying Earth's reproductive methods, often abducting humans for experiments. Though technologically advanced, the SPO were emotionless and mechanical. Their intelligence was unmatched, but their lack of empathy was their greatest weakness. Over time, their priorities shifted from conquering Earth to fending off a rival alien race, the Kur. Despite their initial villainy, and SPO individual later allied with Momo's team, fighting alongside them in major battles against Kur and others. The Samur, humanoid aliens with antennas, were nearly annihilated by the Kur. Vamola, a young survivor, was raised by female warriors who resisted the invaders. In their final stand, the Samurs sought refuge in an ancient pyramid, believed to be a portal to safety. Despite heavy losses, the Samurs' courage and resilience became a symbol of hope. Vamola later joined Earth's heroes, proving herself in countless battles while honoring her fallen kin. While the Samur fighters were trying to rescue their comrades, they stumbled upon a horrifying truth. The captured male Samers were not just prisoners, but were being used as breeding fodder for the Kur. This horrific fate involved forced genetic experiments, leading to the creation of grotesque hybrid creatures. Despite their efforts to rescue the captives, the team of women warriors was overwhelmed by the Kur's ambush. Amid the chaos, Vamola's adoptive mother sacrificed herself to ensure her daughter's escape. Before her death, she entrusted Vamola with the mission to carry on their race's legacy and seek refuge on Earth, a planet that could provide sanctuary for the remnants of their people. Vamola, barely a child, managed to reach Earth via the ancient pyramid technology that acted as a cosmic gateway. Alone and traumatized, she started a new life on Earth, where she met human allies and eventually found herself involved in battles against other alien threats, including the Kur and SPO factions. After escaping to Earth, Vamola had to adapt to an entirely unfamiliar world on her own. Initially, she lived in hiding, relying on her survival skills to navigate through this new environment. Every sound, smell, and sight on Earth was a sharp contrast to what she had known on her home planet. Vamola struggled with loneliness and fear, but soon discovered that Earth had its own share of kindness. A young boy named Hiroshi found her one rainy night, huddled in an abandoned warehouse. Despite her strange appearance and the danger she might bring, Hiroshi saw the pain in her eyes and decided to help her. Through Hiroshi, Vamola slowly began to understand Earth's customs and language. The two formed an unlikely friendship, bound by their shared curiosity and courage. However, her alien pursuers were relentless. They sent advanced tracking devices to locate her, and soon, Hiroshi and Vamola found themselves on the run. In their quest for safety, they uncovered an ancient Earth legend about a hidden sanctuary where stars and humans coexist in harmony. Believing this could be their refuge, they embarked on a perilous journey. Along the way, they encountered both allies and enemies, including a group of rogue scientists who sought to exploit Vamola's alien technology. As they drew closer to the sanctuary, Vamola began to question whether running was the answer. She knew she couldn't hide forever. To truly protect herself and her new friend, she would need to stand up to her enemies, even if it meant revealing her true nature to the world. The battle between courage and fear, trust and betrayal, would shape not only her future, but also the fate of those she cared for on Earth. Their journey toward the sanctuary tested every ounce of their strength and trust in each other. Each step brought them closer, not only to their destination, but also to a deeper understanding of themselves and the bond they shared. One night, under a sky shimmering with countless stars, Vamola shared her full story with Hiroshi. She spoke of her homeworld, a once thriving planet now ravaged by war and greed. Her escape to Earth wasn't just a bid for freedom, it was a desperate hope to find a new beginning for herself and her people. Hiroshi, though young, listened with an intensity beyond his years. He vowed to help her, not just out of friendship, but because he believed in her cause. As they neared the sanctuary, the rogue scientists and alien trackers closed in. The sanctuary, as they learned from old Earth maps and stories, was hidden deep in an ancient forest, rumored to be protected by both natural barriers and mysterious forces. Vamola began to notice faint connections between Earth's myths and the cosmic energy she had studied on her planet. Could the sanctuary be more than just a safe haven? Could it be a bridge between their worlds? The final approach to the sanctuary was fraught with danger. Hiroshi and Vamola had to navigate traps, decode ancient symbols, and fend off an ambush from their pursuers. It was during one such attack that Vamola revealed her most powerful ability, an energy manipulation skill unique to her species. Though it saved them, the massive surge of power sent a signal to her enemies, betraying their location. In the sanctuary's heart, they found a breathtaking celestial chamber, a place where Earth's nature and alien technology blended seamlessly. Glowing crystals lined the walls, pulsating with a rhythm that felt alive. A towering structure in the center seemed to hum with energy, its purpose unclear. Vamola sensed it was more than just a relic. It was an artifact capable of forging connections across galaxies. But there was no time to marvel. The final showdown was imminent. Surrounded by enemies, Hiroshi and Vamola had to decide: use the sanctuary's power to fight or risk activating its full potential, which could alter the balance of their two worlds forever. As the enemies closed in, Hiroshi and Vamola stood in the center of the celestial chamber, the hum of the ancient artifact growing louder with every second. Vamola extended her hand toward the structure, feeling the strange yet familiar energy flow through her veins. She realized that activating the artifact would require both her and Hiroshi to synchronize their intentions. Only together could they unlock its true power, a power that could either connect or destroy worlds. Hiroshi looked at her, his expression both determined and apprehensive. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. Vamola nodded, a fierce resolve in her eyes. If we don't try, my people will never know peace. And if we fail, at least we'll have tried to protect something bigger than ourselves. They each placed a hand on the artifact, focusing on the unity of their worlds rather than the conflict that had brought them here. The artifact responded, its crystalline surface lighting up with bursts of energy that wrapped around them like a cocoon. Their surroundings began to shift, as if the sanctuary itself were bending to their will. The enemies, momentarily stunned by the spectacle, hesitated but only for a moment. With renewed aggression, they lunged forward. In the blink of an eye, the artifact released a surge of radiant energy, creating a protective barrier around Hiroshi and Valmola. The enemies were thrown back, and the chamber filled with a blinding light. Valmola felt an overwhelming connection to the cosmos, an awareness of both her home planet and Earth, bound together in a shared harmony. The sanctuary's power had been unlocked, and with it, an energy field that stretched beyond Earth. It was a bridge, a gateway that allowed peaceful communication and travel between worlds. The artifact had answered not just their plea for safety, but their call for unity and understanding. As the light faded, the enemies who had survived the blast retreated, defeated and wary of the powers they had witnessed. Hiroshi and Valmola, exhausted but alive, stood side by side, looking at each other with a mixture of relief and triumph. In that moment, they knew they had achieved more than just survival. They had forged a connection that would live on as a legacy between their worlds, a beacon of hope for those who sought unity rather than division. As they left the sanctuary, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, and they felt the weight of their journey lift, replaced by a quiet sense of purpose. Together, they had not only protected each other, but had also planted the seeds for a future where Earth and the cosmos could coexist in peace. The journey home was filled with silence, but it was a silence filled with understanding, resilience, and hope. The stars stretched endlessly before them as they stepped out of the sanctuary's protective bounds, the artifact still faintly glowing in Valmola's hands. The once hostile terrain around them now seemed subdued, as though the land itself had witnessed their victory and decided to rest. Hiroshi looked up at the sky, his thoughts heavy yet hopeful. "Do you think they'll come back?" he asked, breaking the quiet. Valmola shook her head slowly, her gaze fixed on the artifact. "Not like this. They've seen what happens when the power of unity is awakened. Fear might keep them at bay for now, but understanding, that will take time." Hiroshi sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Well, we've got time. And maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something better." The artifact pulsed softly in agreement, as though it, too, understood the enormity of what they had done. As they descended from the sanctuary, a strange sight met their eyes. A small group of Valmola's people and Earth survivors had gathered at the base of the mountain. They were a mixed lot, wary but curious, united by the common thread of survival in this fractured world. Valmola stepped forward, holding the artifact high for all to see. "This," she began, her voice carrying strength and clarity, "is proof that we are stronger together. It does not matter where we come from, our home planet, this Earth, or beyond. What matters is what we choose to be. Today, we chose hope." Her words were met with murmurs, some uncertain, but many filled with tentative agreement. Hiroshi joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "She's right," he said. "Fighting got us here, but it won't get us out. The artifact's power isn't just to protect, it's to connect. Let's use it to build something worth fighting for." The crowd's hesitation began to dissolve. One by one, they stepped forward, offering tentative smiles and nods of agreement. The hostility that had once defined their interactions was giving way to something new, a fragile, yet undeniable sense of solidarity. Over the following days, Hiroshi and Valmola worked tirelessly to help bridge the gap between their peoples. The artifact became a symbol of unity, its energies helping to create a shared space where communication flowed more freely and cooperation began to flourish. Camps were rebuilt not as isolated enclaves, but as integrated communities. Resources were shared, knowledge exchanged, and trust slowly but surely began to grow. Valmola often found herself gazing at the stars, wondering if her home planet felt the ripple of change that had begun here. Hiroshi, on the other hand, focused on the ground beneath his feet, ensuring the foundation they were building was strong enough to last. The peace they forged was not without challenges. There were disagreements, moments of doubt, and lingering fears on both sides. But each time conflict threatened to erupt, Hiroshi and Valmola reminded them all of what they had accomplished together and what they stood to lose if they allowed old divisions to return. Months turned into years, and the sanctuary became a thriving hub of interplanetary collaboration. Valmola's people shared their advanced knowledge, while Earth's survivors brought ingenuity and resilience to the table. Together, they forged a future neither could have imagined alone. One night, as Hiroshi and Vamola stood atop a ridge overlooking the settlement they had helped build, Hiroshi turned to her with a grin. "You know," he said, "when this all started, I didn't think I'd live to see tomorrow, let alone this." Vamola smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of the artifact still cradled in her hands. "Neither did I, but tomorrow is exactly what we've been fighting for." And as the stars continued to shine above, they knew that their journey, though far from over, had already changed the course of history. Years passed, and the settlement blossomed into a bustling city, a place where the remnants of Earth and Vamla's people lived, worked, and dreamed together. They named it Unity, a tribute to the bond that had saved them and reshaped their future. Hiroshi and Vamola became the guiding figures of this new society, though they never considered themselves rulers. Instead, they formed a council composed of individuals from both worlds, ensuring that decisions reflected the collective wisdom of their diverse population. The artifact, now housed in a central sanctuary, became both a source of energy and a beacon of hope, radiating the harmony it had helped to foster. As technology advanced, Unity began reaching beyond the stars. Vamla's people shared the secrets of their interstellar travel, and Earth's ingenuity transformed those lessons into something uniquely their own. Together, they sent exploratory missions into the cosmos, searching for other survivors, allies, and perhaps even Vamla's lost home. One such mission brought unexpected news. A returning scout ship reported contact with a distant fleet bearing the insignia of the same invaders who had once threatened them. The council convened immediately, tension palpable in the air. "They're regrouping," said one scout, her voice tight with concern. "But they're fractured. Their leaders are divided, their forces scattered. They might not attack immediately, but we can't ignore the threat." The room fell silent until Vamola stood. Her presence, as always, commanded attention. "If they come, we will face them not as fragmented peoples, but as one. And this time, we won't just fight to survive. We'll fight to protect what we've built together." Hiroshi nodded. "We've been through worse. If we can stand together, there's nothing they can do to break us." Preparation began in earnest, but it wasn't driven by fear, it was driven by determination. Unity's people worked side by side, fortifying defenses, enhancing technology, and reaching out to other worlds for alliances. They knew the battles ahead would test them, but they also knew that they had something worth defending. Months later, the invaders arrived at the edge of their system, but what they encountered was unlike anything they'd faced before. Unity's fleet, sleek and formidable, stood ready. Messages were sent, offering peace in exchange for withdrawal, but the invaders responded with silence. The battle that followed was fierce, but it was also decisive. Unity's combined forces, leveraging the power of both Earth and alien technology, overwhelmed the invaders. For every strike against them, Unity responded with precision and resolve. The artifact, pulsing from its sanctuary, acted as a shield for their ships, deflecting attacks and turning the tide in their favor. When the invaders finally retreated, leaving behind shattered vessels and abandoned weapons, Unity stood victorious. It wasn't just a military triumph, it was a validation of everything they had built together. As the dust settled, Hiroshi and Vamola addressed their people once more. Standing atop the artifact's sanctuary, their voices carried across the city and beyond. "This is not the end," Hiroshi said. "It's the beginning of something greater. We've shown that unity isn't just a word, it's a force that can reshape the stars." Cheers erupted, echoing into the vastness of space. Unity's people, now bound by more than necessity, turned their gaze toward the future. The stars held endless possibilities, and they were ready to meet them not as separate worlds, but as one united force. Their story was far from over, and the cosmos awaited. Years passed, and Unity continued to flourish. Its people became known throughout the galaxy, not just for their resilience, but for their unique blend of cultures, innovation, and diplomacy. As their influence grew, they established the Alliance of Worlds, a coalition dedicated to mutual support and the peaceful coexistence of civilizations. The Alliance's charter was built on the principles that had saved unity: collaboration, respect for diversity, and the shared pursuit of progress. Dozens of planets joined, each bringing its own strengths and traditions to the table. Together, they forged trade routes, exchanged knowledge, and built defensive networks to protect against any remnants of the invaders' empire or other emerging threats. Hiroshi and Vamola, though older now, remained active in guiding this new era. Their bond had only deepened over the years, and their partnership became a symbol of what was possible when differences were embraced rather than feared. One day, during a routine meeting of the Alliance Council, a message arrived from an unexplored region of the galaxy. It was a distress signal, faint but unmistakable. The artifact in Unity's sanctuary reacted to it, glowing brighter than it had in decades. Its pattern shifted, displaying star charts that matched the coordinates of the signal. "This isn't random," Vamola said, studying the artifact. "It's guiding us," Hiroshi agreed. "Whatever's out there, it's connected to this, and to us." A decision was made to send an expedition, with Hiroshi and Vamola leading the mission. Their ship, the Horizon, was equipped with the latest technology and a crew representing the best of Unity and its allies. The journey was long and fraught with challenges navigating uncharted space, facing environmental hazards, and encountering strange phenomena. But the crew's determination never wavered. As they approached the source of the signal, they discovered a planet unlike any they'd seen before. Its surface was a tapestry of shimmering colors, its atmosphere alive with energy. Landing on the planet, they found ruins of a once great civilization. In the heart of the ruins stood a structure eerily similar to Unity's sanctuary, housing an artifact almost identical to their own. Vamola approached it cautiously. This is from my people's homeworld," she whispered, her voice tinged with awe and sorrow. "But how did it get here?" The artifact pulsed in response, and the two artifacts began to resonate with each other. A holographic image appeared, a message from Vamola's ancestors encoded within the artifact. The message spoke of a diaspora caused by a cosmic disaster, scattering Vamola's people across the galaxy. The artifacts had been their beacons, meant to guide them back to each other and to a new home. The invaders, it seemed, had been hunting these artifacts, seeking to harness their immense power for conquest. With this revelation, the mission took on even greater significance. The Horizon's crew worked tirelessly to restore the ruins and reactivate the ancient systems. As they did, more signals began to emerge from distant corners of the galaxy, other artifacts awakening, calling to each other. "This is bigger than Unity," Hiroshi said, his eyes alight with determination. "It's the beginning of a reunion." Vamola smiled, her heart filled with hope. "And together, we'll make sure it's not just a reunion, but a rebirth." The journey continued, no longer just about survival or defense, but about rediscovery, connection, and the promise of a future shaped by unity and understanding. The stars stretched endlessly before them, filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and Unity's legacy would shine brighter than ever. Back on Unity, the sanctuary became a hub for these artifacts, which resonated harmoniously when brought together. Scientists and historians worked tirelessly to decode their messages and understand their power. The artifacts not only contain the history of Vamola's ancestors, but also blueprints for advanced technologies, insights into harnessing cosmic energy, and maps to hidden realms. Hiroshi, Vamola, and a hand-picked crew of explorers embarked on this most ambitious journey yet. The Horizon set course for the Nexus, equipped with every resource Unity and the Alliance could provide. Along the way, they faced increasingly strange phenomena, gravitational anomalies, distortions in time, and visions of people and places that seemed to come from their memories. "The closer we get, the less sense reality makes," Hiroshi said, studying the ship's instruments. "It's as if the Nexus is bending space and time around it." Vamola nodded, her gaze fixed on the swirling void ahead. "It's not just a place, it's a gateway." When the Horizon finally reached the Nexus, they found themselves before a massive structure suspended in the emptiness of space. It shimmered with the same energy as the artifacts, its design both alien and eerily familiar. The crew worked together to decode the structure's interface, guided by the artifacts they had collected. As the team activated the gateway, a burst of energy enveloped the Horizon, pulling it into an entirely new dimension. They emerged into a realm unlike anything they had ever seen, a vast expanse filled with floating islands, rivers of light, and ancient monoliths inscribed with glowing symbols. It was a place both beautiful and otherworldly, clearly the origin of the artifacts and the civilizations they had inspired. Here, they encountered a remnant of the civilization that had created the artifacts. These beings were not flesh and blood, but constructs of energy and consciousness, existing in harmony with the dimension's unique physics. They called themselves the Eternals and revealed that they had created the artifacts as seeds of knowledge and hope, meant to guide scattered peoples back to their origins. But the Eternals also issued a warning. The invaders had not been entirely defeated. Fragments of their empire remained, and they too had been drawn toward the Nexus. If they managed to harness the power of this place, it could spell disaster for the galaxy. Hiroshi and Vamola realized their mission was far from over. The Nexus held the promise of unity and renewal, but it was also a battleground. The crew of the Horizon, with the help of the Eternals and the Alliance of Worlds, prepared for what could be the final confrontation, a fight not just for survival, but for the future of everything they had built. As the battle loomed, Hiroshi and Valmola stood side by side, their resolve unshaken. "This is it," Hiroshi said, "the moment we've been preparing for." Valmola smiled, her voice steady. "Then let's show them what unity truly means." The stars above shimmered, and the nexus pulsed with life, ready to fulfill its destiny. The stage was set for the ultimate test of courage, wisdom, and the unyielding spirit of those who dared to dream of a brighter future.